Okay, was a for person like na comment na share one side there. Yeah, be share na on air Aksa deal yeah. I want some about scandal that one thing. I just end this for my power. Omonya ba ya no what scandal. Scandal we cancel the Mahama administration one Mahama one administration on this particular scandal there about up and mugusu ho sema ya te se the odi deal ne bae Berko for ne ade odi muntintimai no US aban na de aconvict no is your training deal sentence ne na kotu na say uhwem kwada enye the interference of US aban na say kasase mu yi anka isi wo mo first administration mo ba bepim mo second administration ye na ka de yan krum ha pa de nka ya chikuo ye hu de bekwa kosie the more NDC for no so long as project a very so party as a buying papa no more year optics share Ghana for no cause I say we can't but young people bambu see ya kaba no munyi na gum komunyi na obi a ne dia pie bia dem but mo hu say ya da omo administration and e buy and omo kro and more we involve no see NDC for tie no mo sa wada ho we can US for now, but now keep going to Ghana for 10 was in. I am in Chad there, where you almost so crata. And I semi a minister for power then, I know involved because they energy issues, high electricity, and some that I don't do so on there. Now, reports in by no, and I said Mr. Asante Berko, which is that former minister, no, share power minister for power that time, no, or no. And sika binia de ade say they are convicting on US no or no na tutor say sika no a tutor sika binia de ade because for no ministry or no MPs binia de ade this particular man no it is alleged say on so nya de sika binia de ade na the lawyer sababo and the lawyer ene ye nyina your favorite honorable KT Hammond the youth honorable youth no penasempa on the lawyer for Mr. Asante Berko. Na waba ponting ena omabe true statement ache say Mr. Asante Berko I clarify say no ne when he is not involved in that bribery cases near there, he doesn't know anything about it. He has never been involved in such stuff. You get and besides report nearby and specifically say OGC Kabi. So what is about it was discussed. So it was going to be paid like paying. So I tell you how the statement was framed in the report. Say the money could not have been paid, and I say like it was in the process, but it wasn't paid. You get as in say what we see this can be. I get it's man about to clarify all those things with the lawyers. I'm not one between be there at one point. I ever say move person money and the other neighbor who be and some nobody. Ebekwa kudru now when at TV3 for as usual. I'm afraid be say munsem. And I'm afraid KT Hammond on a statement on the Bible and any case no honsem sembina. Amanor Kemini Amanor TV3 journalist. Now then some no. ABC bisa KT Hammond. Cause I want to say journalist yes nsem ni sano and moon now as usual or more per red line. You get it. And so long as a KT Hammond, akoye MPP no MPP man be enim na so jema as a lawyer this particular Mr. Asante Berko no the head there TV3 for my agenda na you get be for kwan bi so aye nema. Now when a KT Hammond say madam behave yourself. Questions will be said, I say, Mammy. Show questions not be saying boo and yes, I'm going to get them as usual or not. So I tell you, the man left right and that you're going to go to an interview, of course, with TV3. TV3 journalists in the agenda now, you couldn't go to.
Some big ticket stuff, because this afternoon we are hearing for the first time from the man who was at the helm of affairs when the Aksa energy deal was brokered. Former Power Minister Dr. Kwabena Donkor denies any knowledge of a request or demand for any money as alleged in the US indictment. The indictment that will see former TOR MD go to jail for up to 30 years in the US. I want to show you bits of that statement that we've seen from Dr. Kwabena Donkor's lawyers. He says, our client instructs us in very crystal clear language that he has absolutely no knowledge about the allegations linked to him. He completely and emphatically denies any knowledge of a request or demand for any money as alleged. Now, this statement from counsel for Dr. Kwabena Donkor also go on to say that our client accepts that he was the relevant minister at the time material. This is a matter of public record. And we have also said here that during that period that was investigated by U.S. authorities, Dr. Kwabena Donkor was power minister. Remember, it wasn't the energy ministry, it was power ministry at the height of doomsor in the country. The statement goes on to say, our client also admits that the state, through his then ministry, the Ministry of Power, negotiated with Aksa Energy for the generation of electric power in Ghana during the relevant period. This was at the time when the country was going through the worst phase of what came to be termed as doomsor, the erratic power situation at the time. It was a time of extreme power emergency when the country experienced extreme load shedding. The statement goes on to talk about Dr. Kwabena Donkor further instructing his counsels that during the course of this negotiation, a technical team from all the electric power stakeholders in the country, and I want you to take note of that because we'll go over the technical team membership in a tad. Now, this team was sent to Istanbul, Turkey, to inspect the equipment which was to generate the required electricity in the country. This was and is the regular practice of pre-shipment inspection. According to our client, at no point in the course of this negotiation did he once set eyes on the said Mr. Asante Berko, nor has he since. Now, Mr. Asante Berko is the man who's been held for these crimes in the United States of America. He is to face a long jail term, possibly when he's sentenced on November 10th. But in this particular statement, Dr. Kwabena Donkor shares with us, he says, in very plain language, our client states very strongly and unambiguously that he has never met the said Asante Berko all his life. He never discussed any personal benefit, any value whatsoever with Asante Berko or any other person for that matter. He never authorized any person to discuss any such matters on his behalf. He never received any money in any denomination, any personal benefit of any value from Asante Berko or any other person. And any person or persons who may have made such criminal demand in his name did so for that person or person's own benefit, completely washing his hands off whatever we have heard from that indictment document. Our client, it goes on to say, does not understand that any evidence was led in the U.S. trial which linked him with demanding or receiving any money, cedis or dollars, or anything of value to him personally. He does not accept that evidence that some other person or persons claimed that the required money from their principals for the benefit of senior Ghana official or any other title metamorphosed into any evidence of criminality or wrongdoing against him. We are instructed to notify the general public accordingly and to state that any publication or statement of any kind which could be interpreted as contrary to the instructions clearly stated above and which will seek to impugn on the reputation and integrity of our client, take note of this, shall result in immediate legal proceedings. So that's what we've heard from the former Power Minister, Dr. Kwabena Donkor. Now, this statement comes on the back of a major international bribery case involving former TOR MD, as you may have noticed already, Asante Berko, and public officials at the time. Berko, who is facing up to 30 years in prison, will be sentenced later in this year, and you may have heard me talk about November 10th. The plan this afternoon is to talk to the council who authored the statement to us. Former Adansi Asokwa MP and head of Cavendish Chambers, the team of lawyers who drafted the former power minister's reaction to this matter. Again, he's denied any wrongdoing, denied ever knowing Asante Berko, the man who's been convicted of corruption-related charges in the U.S., He's denied ever asking anybody to take money on his behalf, and he has no idea how some people are able to link the undisclosed identity of senior government or Ghana official one to him. Now, there are questions to be answered, which is why we went to counsel Katie Hammond on this matter. Unfortunately, we are unable to raise him at this time. But the issue of statements do not end here, and I want to tell you why. Now, first, Ghana's Attorney General says the government is working with U.S. authorities to investigate the Ghanaian side of this case. But recall that it will not be the first time Ghana has found itself at the center of an international corruption scandal. Remember the Airbus scandal, when the British investigators uncovered allegations involving Ghana leading to a multi-billion-dollar settlement with Airbus. Ghana launched its own investigations, but no Ghanaian official was ultimately prosecuted. So there are questions to be answered whether or not this will be different. But let me run it back a little bit. When I told you that statements have come up, we also know that EOCO has spoken to this matter. And EOCO says, look, they acknowledge the public interest in this matter, but this is what is most important in that statement right now. They say last year, EOCO received a request from its counterparts in the United States in connection with investigations into the alleged bribery scheme. The request sought information relating to specific individuals in Ghana who were considered relevant to the investigations, including a former Minister of State and Public Servants. Hold on to that. My understanding is the former Adansi Asokwa MP and head of Cavendish Chambers, Katie Hammond, has joined us here. I appreciate your time, Katie. Good afternoon to you.
You.
Fantastic. Why has your client chosen to speak now?
I don't understand the question.
Well, I'd explain.
What does that mean? The matter came up only a couple of days ago.
That is not true, Katie. This matter came up in 2020 when Asante Berko was originally, when he became a person of interest in this matter. We know that at that time, Dr. Kwabena Donkor did not respond to anything from that indictment. Now that he's been convicted, my question is, why has he chosen now to speak?
Well, calm down. You're rushing through the statements. I don't quite get it. I mean, some matter came up in the year 2020, 2020, you say. Okay. So someone comes up, his name is not dragged in the mud anywhere. He had absolutely nothing to respond to. Now, we do hear that there has been a trial in America, there has been a conviction, and the process, something has come up, and his name is readily come up. So he explains, and you're asking me why is he taking, why is it that he's come up now? I don't quite get it. He's come out now because this is the time that he feels that his name has come up in this matter.
I see. In that statement to us, Honorable,
Yes.
Your client denies knowing Asante Berko. He denies being on that trip to Turkey for the inspection. In fact, he says there was a technical team that did that. And in the indictment, we hear of Ghana official, one who is described as acting on behalf of the Ghana Ministry of Power and also an advisor to a high-ranking official in the Ghana Ministry of Power. Same for official 2, which means that your client had contributed 2 members of his team to this technical team that went to Istanbul. Who were they?
Listen, let me be careful. This statement is not on behalf of everyone. It's on behalf of one person, and he is Dr. Kwabena Donkor, who happened to have been the minister at the time material. Would explain that. As a matter of official knowledge, I mean, if you have any knowledge about how that ministry runs and the power sector and how purchases of electricity took place at the time, or even now, you would understand, you appreciate some of the issues involved. One institution, particularly the Ministry of Energy, Ministry of Power, they want to purchase any electricity, you would first invite the company which has a plant to come and have the discussions with the authorities in the country. It would always invariably be the ministry responsible for that. Power at the time or Ministry of Energy, and then a contingent. And the contingent was almost invariably be those who have technical knowledge of it. It is stated clearly in the document that you are seeing that those people who went would be the relevant stakeholders. Those will be ECG, those will be VRA, those will be PURC, all of them. Of course, they would have to go with the officers from the Ministry of Power at the time, because they would then have to come back, collect the results, and report to the appropriate minister. That's all there is. You're asking me who are they? I mean, it is public knowledge, and that list is not disputed. It is not contested, and this is there. Human beings did go on that particular journey to Istanbul to investigate the integrity of the plant that was going to be brought to this country to produce electricity for Ghana. That's what we're talking about. Be careful about the questions. Just be careful. Be careful about your questions.
Honorable, did your clients know that when they were taking that trip was not at the expense of the government of Ghana, but rather it was at the expense of the companies involved?
Do you know whether it is at the expense of the company, or it was at the expense of the company, or at the expense of the government of Ghana? Do you know that? You're asking whether he knew or he didn't know.
Well, based on what the indictment says, the trip was fully paid for.
Say it again.
Based on what the indictment says, the trip was fully paid for by the Turkish energy company. Now, what I'm asking you is, did your client approve for that to happen? What was the reason behind that?
Did he himself attend? Did it mention that my client himself was on that delegation? Some people were asked to go. They did attend. What has he himself got to explain as far as the financing of that is concerned?
But your client was the Minister of Power. If such an important negotiation was going to take place, he will know who was going, how it was being funded, and the likes. The question I'm asking you is, did you...
Calm down. I've always been advising your colleagues. Some of this matter, when they come up, you see opportunity of talking to the life of lawyers and those who are some involvement with this matter sometime and study the subject matter. If you had, you wouldn't be asking these questions. They are very clear what the procedure is. At the time I myself was the Deputy Minister of Energy, up to now, the procedure has been very clear. Those who go and how it is financed is very clear. So you're asking me, did my client know or he didn't know or all that, and I'm ready to some other questions. I'm not going
but is it normal for the foreign company to fund their trips?
Say that again.
I'm asking, is it usual practice for the foreign company to fund the trips of government officials who are going to negotiate an agreement of this nature?
At the time that I was responsible for some of these things, the matter will be very clearly put to the persons attending and to ensure that the proper inspection has taken place. As to who funds it, it's not the question that my client is being dragged into. He is being dragged into the matter of having allegedly been given $1 million. That's what we are dealing with. You have any more questions on that?
Did he receive the $1 million?
Behave yourself. Are you cross-examining me? I've written a statement of the instructions of my client. You're asking me a question on it, and look at the question you're asking me. Are you cross-examining me? Did he take it? What a question to ask. Sorry, what's your name again? I'll make sure that I won't take your calls again.
Well,
what's your name?
Honorable.
How can you? Is it professional to ask such a question?
Some questions may be uncomfortable, but they have to be asked. One of those questions...
Be careful. No, I appreciate how journalists operate. So don't hide behind questions which are not comfortable. That's not the issue at all. But if you ask me, am I at the cross-examination, did your client take the money? What are you talking about? That's absolutely unfortunate. Perhaps the language I can use. Very unfortunate question to ask.
Very well. Let's move on to some other issues that have come up then. EOCO has said that over the last year, they have been working with people who have been named in terms of their work with U.S. officials on this matter. Is your client one of those who's spoken to EOCO in the last year on this matter?
I'm not so instructed.
Very well. Honorable, you yourself was ranking on the Energy Committee at the time this document was ratified.
You think the likes of KT, so we are cheap people, isn't it? You see, what I said to a colleague of yours this morning is that when this matter came, you people should have been very, very careful in analyzing it. It's not every news, and of course I know every bad news is good news for journalists. You should appreciate it. Look at me.
I do not believe that is what is happening. And if you let me land on the question, perhaps you see the value in that.
All right, let me listen to you.
Very well. Now, I'm saying that at the time Aksa Energy deal came to Parliament to be ratified in July, you were ranking on the Energy Committee. The indictment appears to say that some elbows were greased in Parliament as a result.
You see, I anticipated the question. I was answering and you said I should let you complete, and you are compounding it. That is not read it, please. You see, you are not doing service to yourself. You haven't read the documents properly, and you are just going about the frolic of your own and asking any questions.
What is your understanding of the $46,000 that went to Parliament?
If you have read it, now I'm speaking for myself, if you have read it, you will see that the allegation is that somebody went somewhere and said that they needed this money from somewhere to bring it to somewhere to be given to members of Parliament. And from what I have read, at one point the money was supposed to be $30,000, and then I seen that they said another 10,000 must have been added, and then I see that some 6,000 was added, and it got to 46 or so, and it was supposed to have been given to 18 members of Parliament, including our clerks, the staff, making a total of about 20-something thousand for what is it. You don't get them on is that cheap, you know. Could you move on to another question, please? You should have discounted this thing almost immediately, because there's no suggestion in the American documentation which says that members of Parliament received. Somebody foolishly alleging that this is what happened, and somehow you guys are interested in it. Members of Parliament. There's allegation that they gave 250,000 to this is 1,000, this 1,000. About 18, 20-something members of Parliament must have been given 40-something they talk about. And we're asking questions on this. How can you not rule this out of hand that it's a kind of foolish and silly allegation?
Right. So then...
It's not that cheap, you know?
I think you have fairly responded to it. What was contained in the indictment? You have fairly captured it and responded to it. That money couldn't have come to the members on the committee.
Sorry, the line is not very good. What do you say? Repeat that.
Can you hear me? I'm saying that you have fairly responded to the question.
I can hear you. Yeah, go on.
I'm only saying that you have fairly responded to the question. In that you are saying that $46,000 or so could not have come to members on the committee at the time, correct?
You heard what I said.
Very well, Katie. I want us to look at this issue and how you want the Ghanaian people to interpret what we are reading from the indictment, because the Attorney General says, look, we are also going to look at the Ghanaian dimension of this matter. How does that come to you?
Attorney General, the prerogative of investigating the election, absolutely nothing to do with me. I mean, let Attorney General do his work. I'm doing my work now as counsel of EOCO, and you're taking the process to also ask me about my own position when it came to what we did in Parliament. That's fine. The General intends to do is a matter of his own prerogative and matter for him.
We'll leave it here. I appreciate your time, Honorable. Katie Hammond is former Adansia Sokwa MP. He's also counsel for former Minister of Power, Dr. Kwabena Donkor. We've been looking at that indictment that puts a spotlight on his tenure as Minister for Power. But remember, we've talked about a number of things right now. That statement from Kwabena Donkor through his counsel, Katie Hammond. Katie Hammond himself, what could have been the role of the Select Committee in leading to the ratification of that Aksa deal in Parliament. He's clarified that point as well. And then we've looked at EOCO statement. And I didn't finish. I want to finish that EOCO statement just before I bring in Martin Pebu. Because EOCO statements that, most important part of the statement, point 3 on that, says last year, EOCO received a request from its counterparts in the United States in connection with investigations into the alleged bribery scheme. The request sought information relating to specific individuals in Ghana who were considered relevant to the investigations, including a former Minister of State and public servants. Then point 5 on that says, the office also closely monitored the proceedings in the United States, given the nature of the allegations and the international dimensions of the case. EOCO considered the evidence emerging from the U.S. proceedings to be potentially material to determining the appropriate scope and direction of any comprehensive investigation in Ghana. Now, that's the statement coming from EOCO. The most important part of it is what I have shared with you. Martin Kpebu is a private legal practitioner joining us now. Counsel, you had my conversation with Katie Hammond, who is head of chambers at Cavendish. He's counsel for the former power minister, Dr. Kwabena Donkor, expressly denying any involvement or whatsoever in this corruption scandal. Talk to me about your readings into our conversation. Counsel, can you hear me?
Okay, so for Katie, we all know Katie.
Lawyer, can you hear me?
Sometimes that's the way he jokes. Sometimes you hear him. Yes. Hello? Hello?
Right, go ahead.
Hello? Hello?
Yeah,
yes,
Counsel, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yes. So I said, that's how... okay. I said, that's how Katie always handles his interviews, like the way the banter went on between the two of you. So we've come to accept that that's how he handles issues. So you try to drama around it. So in the substance, I could see he's denied it. Of course, some of the questions ruffled him. Yes, your questions ruffled him. But as I said, the substance of it is that he's denying the involvement of Kwabena Donkor and the involvement of he himself as part of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Energy, Mines, blah, 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 right? Yes. So, and even apart from Kwabena Donkor engaging Katie Hammond, he's been on social media and other media where he has strenuously denied. I remember even engaging him a little bit on one of the WhatsApp platforms. There's a popular WhatsApp platform in Ghana called Alert with Adam Bona. Yeah, he's on it. And then that place, he kept bringing information, trying to show that he wasn't the one who took any bribe, not knowing those were reactions he had already made on Facebook to a post earlier on made by a certain lady called Ajua Enima. So she first put Katie's picture on Facebook and said, this is the minister who was minister at the time, the bribes were paid, etc. So Katie went on Facebook and replied that no, he wasn't the one, etc. Then Katie brought those information to the WhatsApp group. I said created by Adam Bona, the chief executive of the Small Arms Commission. And so that place, I got the opportunity to, make a few statements about Kwabena Donkor's narration of the events. So Kwabena Donkor in those days has been saying that at the time the bribes were paid, he was not in office. That's in September. And of course, he resigned at the end of 2015. Sometime in December 2015, 1/5. And that the bribes were paid in 2016, 1/6, when he was not in office. So far, that is his statement. That is what he's been saying. So what I would say at this stage is that, well, let the investigations go on. If Berko is willing to cooperate, he would come and tell us the persons he paid to. Because once he's saying payments were made, then we pray that since he's a dual citizen of the U.S. and Ghana, he should help us. It is duty under Article 41 of the Constitution of Ghana.
Very well. So Counsel, just to correct that point, when you look at the indictment, the bribes were not all paid in 2016. This is something that began in 2014, took form early 2015, and as of the April 19, 2015, investigators were able to retrieve emails between the convicted former Tor MD in the US now and who was supposed to be his co-conspirators in Ghana, indicating some monies had already been paid and were being pressured to even pay more. So it is not true that no bribes were paid at the time that Dr. Kwabena Donkor was the power minister. That is not to say he's the one who accepted the bribe. Just to clarify the point for those who are listening, as his counsel has explained to us, he has never met this man or any of his allies before, and he denies ever receiving any money. But counsel, back to the question of the denial that he's denied. He's told us that he's not involved. Is that enough for a case like this, or should Ghanaian authorities take it up? And if Ghanaian authorities were taking this up, what exactly would they be looking for in the face of the law?
Good. So under the law, unfortunately, we don't have a law yet that says that he must come and volunteer the truth. Rather, the law is that he who alleges must prove. So since it is the state that is taking up the case under the Constitution of Ghana, Article 19, Clause 2C, a person is innocent of a criminal offense until he's proven guilty. So it is the investigators who would dig, or if you like, mine, and come up with the gold. That's to say the evidence that will show that X is guilty, Y is guilty, W is guilty. Then they will present these things to the court, and then that's how come whoever is presented before the court would then also give his answer. So if his answer is able to create some doubt, then the person walks free. If it's not creating a doubt, then generally the person will be found guilty. So it's the Ghanaian authorities, EOCO and OSP, that will go into this so that they would come up with the evidence. And of course, the Court of Public Opinion will start discussing the evidence even ahead of the court. I mean, the court, judicial court itself. Yeah, it's part of our democracy. We will not be able to wait till the judgment is done. We'll start in the Court of Public Opinion. So by all means, let the discussions go on. But for now, the duty is legally on the shoulders or the head of the investigative authorities. But nothing also prevents those people who took the bribes from coming to confess. Yes, nothing prevents them from coming to confess that, look, we are sorry, we took this money, we are sorry, we contrite heart, we want to be forgiven, we want to pay it this and back, etc. Nothing stops them in law.
Very well. What we've tried to do also is, in the aftermath of this, compared to the aftermath of the Airbus scandal, Ghanaian authorities took interest in that. But at the end of the day, that investigation appeared not to have come to the kind of conclusion that the Ghanaian people thought it would come to. So when we are asking Ghanaian authorities to investigate this matter, how hopeful are you that this could get to a conclusive end?
Oh, it's good. No matter what, we must also investigate. Yes, so as you mentioned, the Airbus one, it's good we went into it. So we were able to come to the bottom of it, at least as far as it's publicly available. So it also showed, just in case we forgot, the Airbus one, at least at the end of the day, it showed that what happened wasn't good, even though it didn't amount to a criminal offense. So remember Kise Jabin's conclusion at the time. Yeah, he berated the current president, JM, for a lack of judgment in that case. He said, no, it wasn't good. It's marked of conflict of interest, but not a criminal offense. You can refer back to it. I remember, so at that time, I even commented, and people insulted me. Though I was supporting JM at the time, we knew he would win the elections, but we also cautioned him that when he wins, like he has won now, when he comes back into office, he should be very mindful of that. So please, for the record, the OSP investigations said that for a criminal offense of corruption, bribery, they didn't establish same against JM, but the case smacked of conflict of interest. So which is that, like if you put a table, JM was sitting as representing Ghana to negotiate for the purchase of the aircraft, etc. And his brother, Foster, was sitting at the other end. Obviously, two brothers, one for Ghana, one for the aircraft manufacturing company. It's not a good picture. So,
precisely.
I mean, it's been worth it. So let this one also go its full length, and we'll see what will come out of it.
Precisely.
But let's note that this one is a bit different, because this one, the person who has paid the bribes is alive. So he has to come and tell us who those persons are.
We'll leave it here and see how this plays out. Thank you so much for your time. Martin Kpebu is a private legal practitioner. We've just been looking at how these latest developments flies in the face of the Ghanaian law. Away from that,